Good rum fences make for great hot tub parties. So I think just through imagination only.
Keith, if you're listening, we're combining the bullshit with the boats.
Yo ho ho, it's time for the boating show. Living on the water is the only life we know. Yo ho ho ho, it's time for the boating show.
Boaty show.
Yes.
Here we are.
Where are we? We're together.
We are together.
You're not on the computer over to FaceTime.
We're in person in the living room looking out at a very wet and rainy day.
Yeah. And we have been hanging out today. We went to yoga this morning.
We did.
Yeah. And it was boaty.
Because we did boat pose.
We did boat pose 4 times. Missy, yeah. Missy, the hot admin / recently promoted to VP of advertising, is wanted to make sure that we pointed out that we did boat pose 4 times. Yeah. Which is thrilling. This is so exciting. This is the most exciting boaty show ever. We were at River Yoga, so we did boat pose at River Yoga.
Yeah.
That's about as boat, unless you're on a dock or on a boat doing yoga.
Well, and also there was like a watery quote at the end.
I don't remember that. I was in too much pain because I realized how whacked my hip flexibility is right now. So I just kept trying to get my hips unwhacked.
It was like she summed it up with one of those inspirational quote moments, right? Like,
again,
you must become the ocean or else you will spend your time feeling seasick or something. It wasn't quite right. It was like that. Did you like the way I was waving my head back and forth? What's that? You do. Okay, thank you.
One more time, Missy.
I think that's a really good version.
Okay, we're going to go with that. You must become the ocean or you're going to be seasick.
Pretty much that was it, which, when you're right, you're right.
I want to go back to Jeff's hip while he was doing yoga because after we finished the class, he was doing a very interesting stretch. The thing that he was doing because his hip, I guess your hip was hurting.
Well, it was like on the way to not hurting if I kept stretching it. So you're right. I was stretching in a weird way. I definitely closed my eyes and it was my own yoga class as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, that's the way
for
to
sure.
do it.
For sure.
Let's be honest.
Right.
We're all in that boat.
Yet again, I'm like, oh,
Whatever.
that's right. I should do this more so that I don't feel so busted all the time and have to hold the handrail going up and down the stairs.
No, Jeff, you need to look at it like this.
What?
Look at me. I'm in a yoga class and I'm doing the right thing for my body and it's going to make me feel good.
Thanks.
Not, I don't ever do it, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you, Missy.
Supportive Missy. That was
All
very
right.
supportive.
Wait, no. I am intent on us not bullshitting about inanities for as much as we bullshitted about inanities.
Sure.
I'm going to put the phone down then.
Is that short for microphone? Okay.
Yeah.
Just
She's
checking.
like a
checking.
podcast pro. She's like, yeah, whatever. I'll put the phone down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, hurry up, man. You had structure for a second.
Yeah,
Let's
I
go.
got structure.
Ooh, right into it. Right away.
It's the boat of the week, stable and sleek. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet? It's the boat of the week, the boat of the week. Ooh, how I love me, the boat of the week. Da 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 da. Hey, yeah, let's check out the boat of the week.
One of our listeners, who we'll call Keith because his name is Keith, told me, he's like, I like it when you and Steph have a little, you go back and forth a little bit, but sometimes it goes on a little bit long. Until last week after we made each other laugh about curling and sticky nubby gloves and curling afros, I was like, that's probably what Keith was, for 18 minutes. That's probably what Keith was talking about. So I wanted to skip right into the boats.
Okay.
That's why we were going to boat of the week first, because otherwise we'd slip down that slippery slope. And so we have 2 boat of the week submissions. One is from Mr. Brian Danforth.
Is that this red one I'm looking at?
No. That's from somebody else. We'll get to that.
All right.
But Brian sent in a picture of some really, really large container ships outside Boston Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And these are the kind of container ships that you can't tell how big they are, because I think they were pretty far away there was a little bit of distortion of the actual ship by the horizon.
Right. Like there's a mirroring thing going on to make it look even taller than it is.
Or maybe even shorter. It was almost like curvature of the Earth was hiding like the lower little bit of the ship in that picture. And maybe not that far away, but whatever. Oh, that's right. Because you're a flat earther. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you're a reformed flat earther. You were a flat earther.
Why is that again? I forgot why I was flat
because
earther.
you grew up on an island and you didn't know anything else existed.
Oh, yeah, that is so true. Yeah,
and then, like,
we didn't know.
You didn't have, like, the charts you had showed narwhals with shark's teeth.
Can't go anywhere. Yeah, you just don't go anywhere that you can't reach with your hand. Like, if you can't swim there, do not take the boat there. This came up because we were talking about... Was it Brian that was who was upset about our going? Keith. I'm sorry, Keith. This is the moment. But we were talking about the fact that people in TI Park like to go like get in their boat and go watch a sunset in Eel Bay.
Right.
And so
you didn't even
I
know
learned about that.
You didn't even know that there was an Eel Bay.
Right.
Much less where
I remember
it was.
my response was like, why would you do that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So flat Earth, but not really flat Earth. But anyway, back to the boat. Back to the boat.
Yeah. Big boats outside Boston, giant container ships.
Okay. It's what do you have to say about
There's not a lot of tumble home.
One of them is not a container ship.
Oh, what is it? I thought I saw 2 container ships. I don't have the picture in front of me right now. I'm going off of memory.
Well, I mean, it looks to me like the kind of tanker we would see here, which is more of a break bulk situation.
Really? There's a break bulk ship outside of Boston?
Right? That's what those arms are for?
Yeah, it has those cranes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a road salt shipment from here.
Could be, and there's lots of stuff they'll put on and off with that, but not. I don't think that those are for containers.
No. Container ships. There's nothing in the way of the container.
Right, and
you're right.
The other one, the big one, is definitely a container, and it's interesting to see the difference. In fact, this one is a Laker. It's not a.
Yeah, that actually. I looked into it,
interesting.
and that was used to ship road salt to Boston from the Great Lakes.
Fascinating. Okay.
That's not true.
Okay.
I mean, that could be true, but I have no idea. I didn't look into it. But not looking into a part is not true.
But the bow is not pointy, which kind of says it's not usually an ocean-going ship, which is interesting because it's definitely in the ocean.
It is, yeah, outside Boston Harbor.
Okay.
Could be a Jones. It could be a Jones Act ship that's doing some that's moving road salt up and down the coast.
Do you want to tell us more about what that is?
The Jones Act says that you can't have a U.S. flag on your ship if the ship wasn't built in the U.S. and you can't transport between U.S. ports.
Oh yeah.
If the ship wasn't built in the U.S. I am
really
maybe.
You're like way out on a limb right now.
It's something like that.
You're like bending the branch right now.
Something like that.
That's okay. I like it. We'll look it up for next time. Or
if anybody knows about Jones Act, hit us up. Email us theboatishow@gmail.com.
All right. And so here's what I have to say about these boats.
Yes.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I like them.
Yeah.
I feel like when I think about containers these days, I think about all the people like making fun things out of them. I know that's not what's going on this container ship, but in my mind,
do you know?
I don't know.
That could be a bunch of like hipster architecture students out there. You know,
what if what if half of them are hot tubs? I mean, that's what I like because it's so far away. I feel like I can make up what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that
like me in the Jones Act.
and pretty much everything else that happens here. But yeah, I feel like I like to think that half of those containers are filled with rum and the other half are just hot tubs. And then I think...
Do they alternate so that it's hot tub rum?
Well, yeah, because you don't want to have to get up out of your container hot tub and run all the way to the far away for the rum.
Plus, you don't want to be sitting right next to somebody else in their container hot tub. You want a little bit of distance between the two. A rum
barrier?
Well, it's more of a shared rum.
Yeah.
Good neighbors make good fences.
It's a rum fence?
It's a rum fence.
Beautiful.
No, right. Good neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors.
Yes, that's the way it works. Good rum fences make for great hot tub parties. So I think that through imagination only.
Keith, if you're listening, we're combining the bullshit with the boats. Isn't this fantastic?
Yeah, we'd like some feedback on whether this is better or worse.
Or should we really keep the two better?
Or worse.
Or worse.
Yes, we're eye doctors as well in our spare time. So that's what I have to say about this. I like it a lot because it's so far away. I can imagine all of the fun that people are having on it.
Brian, Thank you for submitting these boats for Boat of the Week, because this has been a very unexpected conversation about them. I had no idea what we're going to talk about. It was like a couple freighters. I'm making up stories about ancient U.S. legislation and fantasizing about like port-to-port road salt shipments.
And I see a spa.
A really big one.
It's really big. Like maybe
Wait. There's containers stacked on top of other containers. Is it just hot tubs on top?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What's below, the saunas?
How long do you want to do this?
Long enough to get under Keith's skin.
Okay.
That's But while we're talking about Brian's submissions, Brian also sent a spreadsheet of his propeller performance data.
Oh my God. I didn't understand this spreadsheet. I'm so glad that
He and I had a great exchange this morning about a Blackfin 29, which is a tank of an offshore fishing boat that's not like big fancy rah fishing boat. It's like all business fishing boat, fishing machine. And a friend of his bought the first, basically convinced Blackfin or the maker of these Blackfin 29s to put twin outboards on it back in the 80s when they did not want to. And he was a very early sling two outboards in the back of a boat that otherwise would have been powered by inboards, which is a conversion that happens more and more these days. You see boats that, lots of new boats, like every new boat seems to be made with 2 to 7 outboards on the back. And there's a movement, there's just like a refit trend where you take like an old Bertram and, or I guess one of these Blackfins maybe, but you take an old Bertram and you pull the inboards out and you stick a outboard bracket on the back, and you put outboards on what had previously been an inboard boat. So anyway, that's a lot. Are
you explaining what the spreadsheet means?
I'll get to this is me really not really meandering to get to what the spreadsheet means. So he said, it had twin 300 E-Techs on it, or it currently has twin 300 E-Techs. And then he found another one for sale and he sent it to me, and it had twin 300 Suzukis on it. And he said that with the 300 E-Techs, that's a lot of E-Tech 2-stroke outboard.
What's the boat again? How long?
Blackfin 29.
29.
Really wide, really, really deep V, very heavy. It's meant to go offshore through blue water and not be like, 40 or 50 feet. It's only 29, but he said that it was still underpowered with twin 300 E-Techs.
When you say blue water, do you mean ocean?
Yeah, well, of course.
Well, there's another word that you call it green water when you can see through it.
Green water when it comes over. That was me being a dick when I was like, yeah, of course.
Okay, good job.
Yeah,
I barely didn't even notice.
Just like acclimated.
I just wanted the answer. But right,
I've been grumpy, so I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to. All right. Oh God, so much therapy.
You're doing great.
See.
I'm just supportive of whatever it is you're doing over there.
Gonna edit this out.
This is the point. The green water.
Blue water is what like salty people who go offshore say they do. They go out into the blue, the deep blue.
And they mean the ocean. They don't mean the big Lake Ontario when they say that. Do you?
I would.
Okay. I didn't know if it had to be salty to be blue water. That's my question.
Salty is like, you're like a hardcore boater. Salty is like you're like.
No, I know, but I know how to use the word salty when we're talking about boats.
Even in freshwater.
Oh, agreed. But
we could call them a freshie.
Yes. And then, but do you, I need to pursue this point, much to Keith's chagrin. What exactly, when we talk about blue water, do you think people generally mean that it's salt water, or
ocean.
Or is it also usable for very big freshwater? Do you know?
No idea. Don't know.
Let's leave it as we don't know, and back to the spreadsheet. Go.
Yep. Okay, so I said in our messages, I was like, oh man, I'd love to try and dial in the props on a boat like that. Big and heavy, lots of horsepower. The propeller is like the tires on your car. It's where all of the work happens. But as we discussed in the past, you don't really think about it. You're just like, oh, okay, it spins, I'm moving, right? But with Blake and Patrick, we talked a lot about propellers because they had a boat that did not want to get up on plane. It couldn't rev. And I said, maybe it's over propped, which means it's got like too much prop for the motor to get up to speed through the water. Like the motor can't overcome the resistance of the prop. The prop never gets up to speed where it works efficiently as a pump, as a propeller pump. So anyway, Brian was like, yeah. And then we went down a little bit of rabbit hole of propeller enthusiasm. And I shared that I have a medium-term goal of establishing a library of propellers of all shapes and sizes from different manufacturers as a community service so that you could come to the propeller library and try out different propellers to see how they affected the performance of your boat.
That is a whole new level of geekery.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I think your Seaway with the 60 Merc would drive better with a lower pitch four blade prop.
You have mentioned that before.
Yeah. But I would like to have a bunch of these propellers in the propeller library to offer that as a community service. And
I love that idea.
And there are marinas that when you repower with them, they've got like all kinds of props, and they'll do that to figure out what's up. But anyway, Brian has the spreadsheet, and he's got like an interesting piece of data. His nephew whacked a shoal, ruined a prop, got a new one, and the boat was a dog with it on. And so it's the Jolly Pursuit tab in the spreadsheet.
And just so people know, when Jeff says it was a dog, it means it was slow and logy and not pleasant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
But that's like not nice to dogs. Dogs are way better than that.
I just want to make sure people know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Yeah. It did not perform well. So he's got on the spreadsheet for the Jolly Pursuit, 2 columns, 15 by 15 old prop, 14.5 by 19 new prop. So my read is that the old prop was 15-inch diameter, 15-inch pitch. So that's how wide it is, like the diameter. If you're looking at the prop like end on, and then pitch, as we've discussed, is the theoretical distance that the propeller would travel through the water in one revolution if there were no slippage, as if you were turning a screw, and the threads on the screw are like the blades on the propeller.
All right. Well, just so you know, I was in the wrong tab on the spreadsheet, so now I'm ready to go.
You're
realize there were
you're navigating the tab.
So many tabs.
You're navigating the spreadsheet, kicking and screaming. I can tell.
It's amazing, and I'm so into it. Now I've got the 2.
That sounded did not sounded genuine. Okay. So then the second column, 14.5 by 19. So that's a smaller diameter. You lose a half an inch of diameter, and you gain 4 inches of pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's no other, and then each row of the spreadsheet is the RPMs, and so they went out and they trialed, they tested sea trial. Like you can't just like I don't go test a boat, I sea trial it. More boaty words. So they took it out and tested it. They sea trialed it, even though they were probably in fresh water. And at you love data, so this might work for you. I'm
into it.
At 3,000 RPMs, old prop 7.5 knots, new prop 8.5. At
35.
At 3,500, what do you see?
9 versus 12.
4,000?
4,000, 15 versus 20. Then 19 versus 25.5. We're up to 5,000 RPMs. We have 23.2 and 29.
Yep.
And then 26 and 32. So the speed you're getting is significantly improved with the second.
And so this would be an example of the old prop meant it was underpropped.
Underpropped.
It could spin it all the way up to 5,500 RPMs.
Yep. But you weren't getting the motion out of it.
Yep. You weren't going as fast. You were only going 26. And then, but in the other one, you could spin it all the way up to 5,500 RPMs and you're going 32.
I like the first spreadsheet. He was tracking like how much gas.
Yeah.
Like what?
Gas flow, gallons per minute.
One, I feel like this one and this one, I don't have 2 different props to compare, so I don't know what's happening there. But that is also very interesting.
So the other 3 tabs of the spreadsheet are the other 3 boats in the fleet, and those are where he's trying to figure out what the ideal RPM speed mileage is. What's up? The 43 West Mac, man.
I don't know what that is. It sounds like a sailboat to me.
No, probably
43.
Yeah, it's big. And then the double header.
This one also does not have 2 different props.
No, but this is fuel burn. So he's recording some data so that he has a record. So like, for example, let's just look at Plan B. At 3,000 RPMs, it's going 13 knots. It's flowing 8.9 gallons per minute or per hour. I'm sorry, 8.8 gallons per hour, which gets you 1.4 miles per gallon. And this is the hard reality of big power boats. Like you're not getting great mileage in the same realm at all of what you would expect from a car. And then at 3,500 RPMs, 22 knots, 11 gallons per hour, 1.9 miles per gallon, 4,000.
So that's the top of the curve.
Yeah.
Is the 1.9.
Yep. Because at 4,000 it's 1.9 again. 4,500, what is it?
It's 1.6. It goes back down 1.6. Efficiency goes back down to 1.6, 1.4, 1.2.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean if you need to giddy up and outrun a storm, you can, but you're going to be dumping more fuel.
Yeah.
So this is just a spreadsheet to figure out where your most efficient speed is, which is very effective. I'm impressed in a way that's I'm like, wow. I did not know people did this sort of things with boats. Very nice. Well done, Brian.
Yeah. You would get a kick out of doing this with your boat.
No.
You like data.
I would never do this.
Why not?
If somebody else did it, then I would look at it and I would geek out on the data for sure. But I would never do the work to do it. Like, I don't care that much. But I love looking at data. You're right.
Yeah.
Data. I love it.
But you don't care enough to generate your own.
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to go the speed I want to go.
Well, and the stakes are low in that boat because it's a 60 and
burns no gas.
Burns no gas, right?
Yep.
And Brian does a lot of offshore fishing where he's like cruising 50 miles out. And so it's not even how much gas you're burning, how much money you're spending, but it's also like how far can you go?
Yes, absolutely.
And still have a reserve to get back.
Yep. All good questions.
Okay. So that was our first boat of the week with a bonus of the,
geekery?
Why do you call it geekery?
I mean, to me, that's a good thing.
You're just trying to pull it back.
No, it's like geek chic. It's a good thing.
Geek chic?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get to something else that's geek chic in a minute. The other boat of the week submission. Oh. Do you remember the Bertram Baron 28?
So I do.
Captain Davidson, it had the handrail up front.
Yeah, the one that you like wouldn't tell anybody where it was because you wanted it so badly. Yes.
You remember that?
Right?
God, I'm getting those like fluttery feeling in me right now.
Yeah, you want that thing. Oh. You do. Hold on, I have to find it. We gotta
sell some boats.
I think it's in. I'm just moving from 1 2. Okay, got it.
Turns out they make a 20 as well. Are made.
Wait. Okay, what was the other one? A 20 what?
28.
That was a 28, and this is a 20.
Yeah.
That's a lot smaller. It's so deep. Look how deep it is.
Yeah.
Thick.
This is based on the Moppy hull, the 20-foot Moppy.
That makes sense.
Which you know because our friend Will had one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Love that boat.
And it was the 20-foot version of the Ray Hunt design Deep V. The Moppy race boat won the like Nassau to Miami or Miami to Nassau offshore race. And kind of changed boating forever because it was like it proved the Deep V could go across waves.
Who sent this?
I did.
Oh, this is from you.
Yeah.
It's so lovely.
So I found an ad for it also. So this is the Bertram Baron 20. The Bertram Baron 28 was this long, pointy, sweet twin engine speedboat with the cockpit set way back, long bow, and there were not many of them made, and some of them were like gunboats in the Israeli Navy.
That was crazy description.
It's like so hot. But the 20 is like a little more conventional. The Moppy hull had like an open utility layout, meaning there was a bigger open cockpit and a couple of seats up front and some seats in the back. This one is a smaller cockpit, more like a kind of a roadster situation. And I'm going to read some of the copy. Discover Bertram's spirited new 20-footer, the Baron. This is the 1969 Bertram Yacht, Miami, Florida, division of the Nautech Corporation. There's a promise of action in the Baron's lively styling, from the racing stripe on the sleek foredeck to the crisp bow and the rakish slant of the windshield. It does have a nicely slanted windshield.
It does.
It's like a little rounded and slanty back.
And it's all one piece, right?
Yeah. You don't like the split. I like the split. The Baron delivers the action that its styling promises. You get a choice of stern drive power options, the kind of go you want in a ski boat, sports runabout, or a starboard launch. Interesting. I've never seen like starboard launch. That's that term, those terms together.
Yeah, me either.
Like starboard as an adjective, modifier of the word launch. The Baron treats you to luxury with lots of cockpit room, comfortable swivel bucket seats for helmsman and companion, and an aft lounge that is superbly finished in rolled and pleated vinyl upholstery. Where was I? All this in a rugged Bertram high-impact fiberglass hull with the famed Bertram Deep V design, which provides incredible maneuverability as long as you're going flat out, and full stability to track surely through high-speed turns. A lot of boat, but then that's a Bertram all over. See your Bertram dealer.
There's a picture of a skier.
Yep.
It implies that you can ski behind it.
Yep.
There's a picture of it with nothing in the water, including the propeller.
Hanging from a lift. Oh, you mean like when it's launching off of a wave?
Yes.
Yep. So implying you can launch it off of a wave.
I bet back in the day that was to show you that you didn't have to worry about the glass cracking, don't you think? Remember how when fiberglass first started, people were worried about it not being strong enough?
Yeah, interesting.
But that's where that advertising moment came from.
Or also to show you that you could ramp it off a wave, which might not be something that appeals to your brainstem, but it appeals to my brainstem.
No, I think that's good. And I mean, it's not a flat bottom boat is what that also says, right?
Yeah. You
wouldn't do that with a ski nautique.
No.
I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be fun.
Well, if you were 14, you would.
Well, it's bright red. It has chromy. It has that nice heft to it.
Right.
It's not slim and skinny.
No.
It's good size. Like it looks kind of, I don't know, beefy. I like it.
Yeah.
It's very appealing, and I would not kick it out of my boathouse.
Yep. Clock, chart light, and cigarette lighter in walnut toned panel.
Ooh.
Only one cigarette lighter? Weak. Tinted plexiglass windshield. Okay.
Inboard.
Forward stowage compartment. This is why Captain David hasn't sent us, because the forward compartment is for stowage.
Wrong purpose.
Okay. Those are the boats of the week.
Okay. Ooh, I'm seeing more pictures of them below.
Yeah. All right. We got to pick a winner.
You go first.
Well, the utopia that you described of that freighter with the upper level of the containers being hot tubs interspersed with massive containers full of massive amounts of rum, and I like rum a lot. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I agree. It's great.
And like then the other boats, like a break bulk, Laker full of salt. Maybe. Oh, what if the
margaritas?
What if the containers are full of tequila? Yeah. And on the top level, and then down below they're full of limes. Mm-hmm. And then the salt ship next door. I'm just saying.
I do feel like it's January, and I feel like creativity and, like the fact that we don't know that all these things aren't true, and we have no way of
there is a non-zero probability that these things are true.
Right. So like, I feel like we should, I'm invested in this vision. I feel like this is like this.
You've sold me on it, and like, a Bertram 20 Baron.
We've seen it before. Just because it's red with a black stripe, which I like, mm-hmm. Instead of being, flag blue with a white stripe. Mm-hmm, which we also I like.
Yeah. And, you did say, you rightly pointed out that the picture of the water skier is independent of a picture of the boat. So that's implied. I don't think this thing is actually capable of pulling a water skier. So like, it's a piece of junk. I don't know why it has to lose.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to talk it down. You can think it's but this is the hippie in me. You can think it's awesome, but the other one's better.
The other one is where I want to be in January. It is gray and rainy and dark outside. I want to be on the
rummy hot tub boat.
rummy hot tub boat.
Me too. All right, cheers to that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's the boat of the week, stable asleep.
Well done, you two.
Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet?
I think that was the most scientific boat of the week selection that I have ever seen on the Bodie Show.
Thank you, Missy.
Thank you, Missy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. You have something to add?
I do. It's time.
Oh, it's time. Please.
Are we going to talk about RJ Marine?
It's time to add the ad.
Add the ad.
Do it.
Go, baby.
RJ Marine, Clayton, New York. So much more than gas. It is true that the RJ Marine has the best expertly staffed fuel dock in the area. When planning boatie adventures, the smart captain includes a stop at the RJ Marine fuel
Missy,
dock.
What's the dumb captain do?
Doesn't go to RJ's. There, at RJ's, you will find 90 octane gasoline, diesel if you need it, pump out service, water, snacks, even beer.
That's so much more than gas.
He's making it interactive.
Oh.
Yeah, you said you didn't want to just read the ad.
Fine.
You wanted to be interactive.
Okay. And beer. The marina is conveniently located at 690 Riverside Drive in Clayton, New York. Besides the fuel dock, RJ Marine offers many much-needed services for the boatie community, including a water taxi, towing and salvage, and barge transportation. We all know that island living can be challenging at times. Let RJ Marine's water taxi assist you Guests without a boat? Not a problem. Need those groceries delivered before the party? We got you. Or if you ever just need a safe late night ride home, RJ's to the rescue. RJ Marine is indisputably the local expert for marine towing and salvage. And you can stop wondering how you're going to get that pickup truck or skid steer to your island. Try RJ's barge transportation service. Their landing craft provide the perfect solution to such dilemmas. RJ's fast, expert, and friendly service is what we all need to make our boaty lives more efficient. For more information, call 315-777-6059. Again, that's 315-777-6059.
That's awesome. What have you seen on the landing craft? They have 2 landing craft, and I've seen a lot of stuff on them.
I don't know that my brain engages in that way. I think I just assume it's all rum and hot tub.
I've seen
the landing crafts cruising around all the time.
I've seen RJ Marine's landing craft with cement trucks, oil trucks, sewage pump out trucks.
The whole Northington family.
The whole Northington family in their truck.
And also they do have one of their captains does a cool Instagram thing.
Oh, really? What is it?
I can't remember what it's called. I think Whistling Worm maybe, but he's just driving around and he does a lot of like fast videos.
Yeah. Sped up time lapse. Yeah.
Time lapse videos of his
cool.
trips, and it's really fun to watch. Yeah.
We'll look that up and then share it next episode.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I love it.
Yeah. And we talked about this last time, but they have popsicles that they will give your children. They have dog treats that they will give your dogs.
Also, it's the only place to get beer from the water in Clayton.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. And I just think that's notable. I mean, that's not just commerce. That's a public service.
Right. And they have Wooden Boat Brewery beer at times, if not always. Yeah. Because I remember when the Wooden Boat Brewery first opened up, I wanted to try it. And RJ had, he could buy a beer.
Yeah.
Which is huge for me. I don't want a lot of beer. We discussed this.
Weirdo. All right. What's next?
Next. So in the Bodie Show text thread, there was much discussion in the last couple of days of a new unit of measure.
Yes.
FOBOA, feet of boat overall.
Foboa?
Foboa.
Okay.
Foboa.
It sounds very French when you say it that way.
So this is Foboa. So this is a metric that you can use in various ways depending on your purpose, your context, who you're using this metric with,
who you're trying to hide your boats from,
or brag to,
right? Both are obviously in the right moments. So very important.
So it's effectively you calculate the length in feet of all of the boats, and there was some discussion of what a boat is, and there was somebody who was advancing, I think it was Phil, was advancing that the boat has to be something you can get in, and he was called a cockpit chauvinist. But basically,
like the question is like, so if it's a paddle board, is it still a boat? Which by our definition, when we started this show, the answer is yes.
So there were multiple factions. The cockpit chauvinists were discarding and disrespecting the paddleboard community as those weren't boats. But we have discussed that a boat. In our first episode, we defined a boat as something that you can get from point A to point B, and you can choose whether or not you get wet.
Right.
Which I think sneaks the paddleboard in under the radar.
I think so too.
Under the radar, under the definition. So this is how many feet of boat overall, and Phil calculated it was 116, I think, and everybody else just kind of like pretended that they weren't
adding it up in their own minds.
Well, and also maybe they didn't want to put how many feet of boat overall they had, what their Foboa metric.
It really could be seen either way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that Patrick was trying to delete the text thread from Kimberly's phone.
Yeah. Look, let's not talk about this. Eyes elsewhere.
Yeah.
Look at that boat full of rum over there.
Yeah. So feet of boat overall. This is one of those things where every once in a while I try to do it, but then I scare myself a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to know. What's that number even mean?
It's a great question.
I'm not going to brag about it. I'm probably going to hide it. People ask me, how many boats do you have? And I'm like,
don't worry about it. Yeah. Less you know, the better.
It's because there are a few people that I'll have that conversation with.
But you mean the people that have more boats than you?
Or they're just not going to be surprised. They're not going to judge. They're not going to be like, oh my God, what the...
People that already know you have a problem.
Is it a problem?
I mean, it depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay,
So
yes.
feet of boat overall. Like, I don't know. That's something, listener, is in your life, you could ponder that. Yeah. And there's also lifetime FOBOA.
No, that's a terrible idea.
Calculate the feet of all the boats you've ever owned.
I don't know. I feel like
Captain David's like running. He's like
running for the
Captain
hills.
David's like diving to like turn the podcast off if he's listening.
But also, like, I feel like there should be some. I feel like if you're gonna come up with that piece of data on yourself, there should be some other piece of data that you combine it with in order to make a meaningful metric.
Oh, because it's just this absolute measure. It's not
Yeah,
it's not a
do you know what I
ratio.
mean? Yeah, it should be something per something.
It's like miles instead of miles per hour.
Correct. Like, so over maybe, I don't know what the other one is, but let's think about that. Well, we'll come back to it at the end of the show.
So yeah, if you just talk, hey, I have 50 miles. Like, okay, so what?
Right. If you 50 miles.
But
of
if I
boat-
have 50 miles and if I went 50 miles an hour, oh, look, what's the speed?
Same. Right. And so if you come up with the number of like the number is 200, you're like 200, and then but what
Yeah.
does that mean? Like, I don't
What's
know
the
what
denominator?
Right. Don't know yet. We'll think about that.
Okay, cool. So I have a surprise topic for you.
Oh, great.
So I saw it on the news this morning. I'm gonna text it to you.
Love a good surprise.
Wait. Are you yawning in the middle of the podcast?
But this is not the middle. This is getting edited out.
Is it?
Yeah, the time when you're staring at your phone trying to find something to send it to me, yet nobody wants to listen to that. This is the hold, please, while we get our shit together. Like, we would need some theme music for this. Like, la, 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 la. I don't know. That's already a song. We could do the Phil Collins song we were singing earlier. Against All Odds. Yeah, we could sing that while Jeff's like staring at his phone.
No, and I was going to send it to you earlier, but I didn't because I wanted to do this. Here it comes.
To be a surprise.
What did I send you?
Giant Darth Vader sea bug discovered off the coast of Vietnam. Scientists have newly identified a supergiant, which is in quotes, sea bug species after purchasing crustaceans from fishermen and restaurants in Vietnam, to study the growing popularity of the creatures as a local delicacy. This is not just a sea bug. It's also
A local delicacy.
dinner. Okay. The deep sea critter, now called Bathynomus vaderi. Oh.
Bathynomus vaderi.
Got its name after researchers noticed its head shape shared a resemblance with the helmet worn by iconic Star Wars villain Darth Vader. Scientists officially described the newfound species on Tuesday on the journal Zookeys, confirming some elements of the B. Vader's Vaderi's body structure differed greatly from other Bathynomus specimens found in the South China Sea. Supergiant sea bugs, including B. vaderi or vaderi, are members of the isopod family, characterized by hard protective exoskeleton, 7 pairs of legs. The largest specimen in the study weighed more than 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds, and measured 12.8 inches, making it one of the largest known isopods. And dinner.
What's your favorite part about this so far?
The combination of ick factor and dinner.
Mine is the dinner part. I like that the scientist discovered this after they purchased them at like a fish market.
Yes.
So like everybody's like, these things are tasty. And they're just like eating them and fishing for them and then eating them and everything. And the scientists show up and they're like, ba, ba, ba. It's a new species.
That's
but
new.
Yeah,
Stop
it's new.
eating. We've never seen it before.
Oh my God, we've never seen it before. But like,
and also it looks like Darth Vader.
but people are also chowing down on it. They've never seen it before, unidentified
Let's
by
eat it.
scientists. But like,
That's a great point.
But like, people have been eating it.
Like that does sort of, that brings up a bunch of questions. Like, when you like you're eating something that we eat all the time and you have that moment where you're like, who started this? Like, whose idea was this first? Like a raw oyster or whatever.
Oh, bingo, right here.
Right?
This crew, the people in Vietnam who, if you keep reading the article, they're like, yeah, it tastes like lobster.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you look at a lobster and you hadn't been eating it before, you would have the same exact reaction.
Yeah, we're all used to lobsters because like, they get printed on belts and like preppy shorts
And pants.
and pants. But like you look at a lobster, you're like, why is this thing any grosser than a lobster?
It's a really good point.
Yeah. I mean, It looks a lot more like a
I feel like
cockroach.
I haven't seen his face yet. I want to see the Vader face. Where is it?
It was on the front page and they're not showing it on this, but anyway.
All right.
Yeah. That was my surprise topic for you.
Well, thank you very much for that. I do feel like this is a great leap in learning for me. This is a completely
Leap in learning.
leaping learning. Well, that's what we'll call this particular segment
Yes.
from now
Leap
on.
in learning.
Leaping learning. Woo, that is.
You taught me something earlier,
What?
which is that a fashion trend called Fisherman Core
Yeah.
is not a joke.
It's not a joke. I think it was like, well, I mean, people just come up with this stuff. But yeah, I mean, we talked about ballet core a couple of episodes ago, and this is Fisherman Core. And there's some lady, she's selling it. She's like, I'm seeing Fisherman Core, and everyone's got tall boots and thick socks and cable knit, which I feel like fits right in with our whole jam. I mean, you may as well just like Nor'easter Core, we could call it, right?
Boom. Nor'easter Core is like the superset of Fisherman Core.
There'd be more yellow. Yeah. But it's really, it was, I saw it and immediately I sent it to like 17 people. Mm-hmm. And
you showed it to Julie earlier. Julie is
she's like, we already have all that.
She's like, she said, oh, I have that. Oh, Phil has that. Phil has that. I have that. Phil has that. Her husband, Phil, is a fishing guide.
But I do feel like that was part of what I loved about it. I was like, oh, look, we're back. Hang around long enough.
You never left.
No.
I looked at it and said, "Is this for real? Is it?"
And I said, it's made up. And Steph said, well, isn't everything? Which is such a frustrating response because she's right, but also now it's like, what is truth?
Well, I mean, that should really be the theme of the episode since we just made up what that tanker did.
But wait, we made it boat of the week because you told me it had hot tubs and container full of rum.
And it does.
Okay, good.
And there's definitely not a container full of the Darth Vader bugs. Although, I mean, you're going to get hungry eventually. It tastes like lobster. Maybe we shouldn't rule it out.
And you already got a big pot of hot water.
Exactly. Nothing but pots of hot water everywhere. Ooh, this is getting so gross and creepy. All right.
Well, maybe you get into one of the hot tubs that's full of the Darth Vader bugs and they nibble the dead skin off your toes.
Oh yeah, that's always a good.
Oh no.
No, that's we talked.
I can't even take the little fishies
Fishies on the head of
nibbling it.
grindstone. I love it. I love that.
When you're standing in shallow water and the fishies come over and they nibble you, we convince ourselves that.
Yeah, remember me freaking out last summer, like screaming and running around in a circle because they were.
Like that's every summer.
Well, in particular. Last summer?
Yeah,
no,
but here's the
you
thing,
videoed
though.
it.
So when
I did video it. I gotta find that video of you losing your mind.
It's true. So just to place people, like we're talking about the beaches on the head of Grindstone, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening have had
experienced this. Yeah,
you stand there, you're stone cold chilling, you're sipping your cocktail, and you're standing in the water. And then from time to time, the little fishes come over and they just take a little gentle nibble. But later in the season, they are bigger. And the experience is slightly different in a sensory way. That's what you were reacting to. It was later in the season and the fishes were taking bigger bites.
It was something. I was running. I was screaming. I jumped out of the water.
I made you hold still. So
Jeff was like, oh, come on now.
They're exfoliating you.
It's fine.
So the Darth Vader bugs in Vietnam, they're like, they don't have minnows in Vietnam. Of course not. But they have Darth Vader bugs. They come over and they're like, beep, 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 beep. Take a little Darth Vader nibbles of the dead skin.
This is a little too Circle of Life for me at this point.
That sounded a little more like R2-D2 than Darth Vader.
Good point.
I don't think Darth Vader goes beep, boop, beep, boop. Pretty sure.
No. So Fisherman Core, I don't know, man.
Did you send it to MJ? I bet MJ would love it.
I sent it to MJ and Hannah.
Okay.
We had talked about this on the Bodhi Show. Remember when she went to the Fisherman's Conference?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she wanted to dress like the fisherman?
She did.
The fit. She talked
remember?
about the fisherman fit.
The fisherman fit.
Exactly. So I sent it to both of them because it seemed very relevant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed.
Both of them at various times, like definitely seem to be striving for Fisherman Core outfits, Nor'easter Core.
As they should.
I think MJ more than Hannah.
As they should. And I also sent it to Anna Larson because she's definitely been wearing Fisherman Core for like her entire life.
Yeah. She's probably the only person I know that rocks a sou'wester on the reg. Unironically.
Yeah. She is like literally, this is what she wears. Yeah. Like, I'm sure she hasn't seen it because she's got kids to take care of. But when she does, she's going to be like, yes.
Fisherman Core. All right. Do we want to do float of the week?
Yes, float of the week.
Okay.
Float of the week. Do we need to, do we get to use
La
the
la
song?
la la
All right,
la
we use the song.
la.
It's the
Float of
the week. Stable asleep. Check out the.
All right, that float of the week. Floats of the week don't get the whole song because I'm running the board and I don't like floats.
Yeah, let's start with the fact that across the board, Jeff is a little bit angry about floats because they get blown up and they don't get blown down.
Or
That's what I'm gonna
put
call it.
away.
That's what I'm going to call it.
Or
blown
put
down.
away appropriately.
Or at all.
Or at all.
And
Yeah.
but let's just go ahead and set that aside and spend a moment focusing on the fact that when they are blown up, they're lovely and fun, right, Jeff?
Yeah, if you like lying there. Like, with your-
Remember when you
lying there-
drove Steph and I home from Kimberly and Patrick's and we were sitting in the Adirondack chairs in the front of the Green Dog and how freaking fantastic that was? It was so
It
fantastic.
did make me happy.
Yeah. There's a
That was the only time in the history of floaties that I thought floaties were doing
well,
right.
That's because you didn't have
Didn't have what JK submitted, which is
the bloat of the week.
it looks like a bow rider runabout,
But it's all inflatable.
but the whole thing's inflatable.
JK, I think it's amazing. I want it more than I've wanted any of the other boats so far.
That is entirely on you, and I will shoot it with a shotgun.
no, remember how we were
At the
leaving that
end of the
behind?
season.
Remember, a second ago, we were going to leave the anger behind for just a minute. Just for a
And he
minute.
went right to, I'm going to shoot it with a shotgun when you said leave the anger
Yeah.
I'm
behind.
not
That's
like
okay.
usually I go to the kitchen and I get a really big wicked looking knife
Mm-hmm.
and I take it down to the water and I stab and slice and massacre the floaties with
Yes.
with like a caricatured size, like cartoon size kitchen knife.
Yeah.
And I feel release.
But then don't you have to put the whole thing in the trash can?
Yeah. But then it's gone.
So wasteful.
I don't care. They're just gonna end up blowing into the
Julie's been sleeping next to us on the couch for the entire episode. She
But
just
she just chimed in.
chimed in. Mm-hmm.
wasteful, judgy. And I feel judged here.
Yeah,
I feel
well,
like this is a
I
hostile
think
environment.
right now you just need to chill out and talk about
Did
this.
you look at it?
Yeah, I looked at it.
It's giving you anxiety because you're worried about it not getting blown down.
No, because Missy dead ass. If she found that thing for sale, she would buy it.
I
Well,
think-
listen.
Yeah.
It's
true.
you guys don't need to agree about this right now.
True. It's not even, it's like January.
It's 2-1. We love it.
All right. Are we going to talk about the other submission from you?
Yes, and this was me kind of just being my like being a dick,
I want to see your floaty.
as you like to say. How did I? I know.
Yeah. Show it to Missy. It's burned into my brain because I was like, oh no.
You gave you trauma
It
immediately.
was literally a living room. We've had these before. We've seen these before. Like there was
Have
one
we?
last spring. There was one for sale in Costco that got submitted by a few
Oh
people.
yeah, that one was big. It was like
It's like
it
a
was sort of-
4-poster bed living room
3D.
situation. Yeah.
I thought for sure I sent it to you in. Oh yeah, here we go.
It's a reel with that song playing.
It's, hold on. It's a floaty step.
Yeah,
It's not a floaty.
What Missy's talking about is we had this thing. We got this thing called a
Swim step.
Swim step, which is made with drop stitch fabric, which allows you to inflate a floaty that is not too thick. Like it's not a big like marshmallow puffy floaty, but like
and it's firm like a blow up paddleboard.
Yeah,
like you could
it's the same.
easily hop out of the water and get onto it.
Yeah. So we bought one of those, and Missy loves it because she likes to get into the water about a half inch at a time, and so that eases her
Did you see
process.
Did you see the cribbage board in the middle?
I did.
There's a cribbage board on
There's
it,
a cribbage board right in the middle.
which makes me even like
Angrier.
hate it more because
Okay.
I don't like board games.
When you're wrong, you're wrong. And the thing I think between these two that's so interesting is the styling.
The bloat and the float.
Completely different.
Yeah,
Yep.
the bloat and this, we'll call it the swim step version of the living room, are very different. This one's very modern. It
Yep.
has like it almost like it has like floaty, blow up, angular, semi Danish modern style, shapy chairs that
Yep.
go on top of the swim step. It has a coffee table with a cribbage board in the middle. So this one's like doing
It's a
something
dock, basic. It's an inflatable dock.
with chairs and a cribbage table. So I think the question is just, how do you like your floaty? Do you want it to look like a soft, cushy, rounded boaty boat? Or do you want it to look more
Let's
like
look
this?
at the bloat one more time, could we?
Yes, naturally. That can be arranged.
The bloat of the week.
The bloat of the week is right here.
Okay. I am going to postulate. Is that a correct word?
Yeah, nice. You nailed it.
I said it weird. That you could play cribbage and or
You're not wrong.
cards in this. It may not be as firm as the other one.
Is that what you're looking for in a floaty, though? You want firm?
Well, it's sometimes difficult to get onto these when they're not firm.
Do you think you would
That's
have
the best. That's the only good part of a floaty is watching you try to get on one. No
From
joke.
the water
Yeah.
without stepping off a dock?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this has like a little swim step. I bet you could get on that pretty easily and then just climb in just like it were a boat.
I am with you so far. This one holds more people. I can't tell which one holds more people. Doesn't matter. I think this one looks comfortable. The other one
Yes.
does too. I think they both win.
Okay, fine.
Since Jeff hates them both so much.
All the floaties win.
Yay!
Can we have some clapping?
It's the motor of the week, stable or sleek. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she?
Are we over? Is that over?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for bearing with
Thank
us.
you
You're
for
welcome.
humoring us,
Yeah,
Jeff.
that was
You're welcome.
You did
Just
a
like
great job.
I'm just like coming up with all the different ways I'm going to deflate them
Your-
violently. Like,
Shotguns and knives.
yeah.
Okay, you do you.
All right, we got one more topic.
What is it?
Eating on boats. Yeah. Because earlier we were discussing various snacks because a couple weeks ago I walked into our sitting room and Missy had a bowl with a spoon in it. And you'd think that would be like cereal or ice cream or something else, but it was nuts. It was like a bowl of mixed nuts with a spoon. And I said, "Are you eating nuts with a spoon?" And she said, "No." Which is usually, that's how she responds to most questions I ask her. and then she said,
When my like preserve like instinct comes in and is like, don't get in trouble for whatever it is
"Free
Jeff's
nuts with a
asking
spoon."
you, whatever.
I love triggering that about something inane.
Nope.
It's my favorite. You're like,
Definitely didn't do well. And then a little bit, I'm like, yeah, I did that.
no. And I'm like, "Are you sure? It looks like you were eating nuts with a spoon." And you're like, "Yeah, I was eating nuts with a spoon."
Which is a little bit genius because nobody likes to be licking the salt off your fingers like over and over and over and over and over. In fact, it could be argued that the reason you stop eating nuts is because of the obnoxious finger licking that is necessary.
And if
Agreed.
if you're on a boat and you have salty schmutz all over your fingers, you might get that salty schmutz on the boat.
And
Which
add
would cause...
Trouble with your family.
I was thinking rust, but okay. Okay.
also, I want to add, I had just gotten my nails done.
Ah.
And I not only did I not want to keep licking the stuff off my fingers, but I wanted to preserve the manicure that I had just gotten.
Yeah.
So
this is how we got to the subject of-
at least two reasons is that it's a good reason to.
So this is how we got to the subject of eating on boats. And I have some childhood trauma from eating on boats because when I was growing up, if you ate on a boat, maybe you ate crackers, can't get crumbs anywhere. So
That's impossible for a
was like-
child to eat crackers and not get crumbs anywhere.
Yeah, I tried real hard because it was like there were consequences. I didn't quite know what they were. They definitely were like stern looks and displeasure. But I'm over that. I'll eat crackers on a boat now, and I kind of like get crumbs everywhere, sort of as an expression of my emancipation from my like first world childhood trauma.
It was also really, really funny to watch your parents tell our kids like
Not
not
to
to
get
get
cracker
crumbs because they were like, what?
Our kids were like, "Yeah, okay, whack job."
Yeah, I mean, chips everywhere.
Yeah,
Doritos.
Yeah, it does not compute. Yeah.
So, but the subject of corn nuts came up. Oh. And Stephanie, you have a history with corn nuts. You were saying earlier, like, yeah, you remember when corn nuts were big in the 90s? And I don't know.
Okay, well, remember when anybody even sort of knew what they were? Like now nobody eats corn nuts anymore, do they?
I do.
You do?
I love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I'll say is I used to work in a random weird little business park off the East Bay in San Francisco, in Alameda. And
On an island, Alameda Island.
Yes, on an island that used to be a landfill, and they were in the process of developing that into a business park.
Yeah.
And my environmental consulting company that I worked for was in that business park. And when you left my building and walked down the hallway, there was a corn nut laboratory that was coming up with new flavors. And we figured out that if you went into that door, there was a series of small bowls with very innovative flavors for corn nuts.
Get out.
Huh.
Get out. This is
And
like heaven for me.
We would then be like, shall we go to the corn nut space? And we would go every time we left. It was a weird job for so many reasons. My dear friend, Matt, who I will never forget, who worked with me there and got me that job. And it was so fun for so many reasons. And the experimentation of corn nut flavors was a big part of the joy.
Do you remember some of the flavors?
Ham and cheese.
Oh, God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And like grape.
Could work. Could work. Sometimes when corn is combined with sweet flavors, you like it.
I mean, all of them sounded horrible to me. We tried them anyway. And I love how open you are to these. I love that you think they all sound good. You really must like corn nuts.
I like all snacks, all salty snacks. And the more like out there they are, the more likely it is I'm going to try them. I like, whenever I travel, I'd love to go into grocery stores and convenience stores and find snacks that
Different flavors?
different flavors, different kinds of snacks, like form factors that that I've never seen before, brands, just different brands.
Right.
My baseline and benchmark snack that I always try to get is a cheese curl or a cheese ball, because there are surprisingly numerous local varieties and brands of those.
I remember in college, my roommate was from England, and she had prawn chips, right? So you can
Shrimp chips.
Yeah, shrimp chips. So, and that was a moment for me where I was like, wait, what? But if you live so close to Canada, you should definitely be checking that out too, because they make some weird shit over there.
Yeah, and the Humpty Dumpty brand of potato chips has made it across the border. It used to be one of the used to love coming to visit my friend Tucker and his family on Wolf Island, because we'd go over there and I could get ketchup chips and clam flavored chips, and all dressed.
All dressed. I've heard a lot about.
You know what I love?
What?
I love that it's somebody's job to come up with the flavors.
Yeah, I wanted to be a food scientist for a while.
Like, they get to be like, maybe the grape corn nuts would be good. I don't know, but I'm pretty darn sure that the shrimp chips are shrimp. I can't even say it. Shrimp chips were a good idea and still are.
Shrimp flavored corn nuts, shrimp nuts. Oh, Julie's not sleeping. She laughed at that.
Really giggled. Yeah. Well, and then
and we can be, just to prove to you, we can make anything Bodie. We have a Bodie corn nut story to share. So
you would have so much more fun telling it than I would. So have at it.
We took actually it was our first
2019 maybe.
Yeah, it was our first really big boat trip, like our open boat camping trip, where we went for 6 nights, and we traveled the length of the Rideau Canal, which runs from Ottawa, Ontario to Kingston, Ontario, and it's about 100 miles.
And we had someone drive us from TI Park and trailer our boat into Canada and drop us off, and then drive our trailer and car back.
Yeah, so
and we got in the boat and took the boat.
We did it
through the whole. Yeah,
and it was like a clown car. We had 3 kids, a dog, a paddleboard, a giant tent, all the sleeping bags, and everything. And I'll try and remember to put some pictures from this trip up, because I don't know that we've talked about it before. But it was Drew who dropped us. We actually went across the Ottawa River into Quebec. We found a ramp, dropped the boat in, and we took the locks. There's this flight of locks that goes past the Canadian National Parliament building, which is this gorgeous building up on a huge bluff over the Ottawa River.
It's insane. It's 8 locks. It's a series of 8 locks.
Yeah, and there were like lots of big boats going up, and then us like in the clown car. It was an 18-foot Eastern center console with all the canvas.
It was not a big boat.
And there's a lot of good stories about Missy on that trip, and
all right, well,
and her pronunciation and like
no
of lock names.
No, I was told we were talking about corn nuts.
So
make it Bodie, Jeff.
All right, go. So
oh
come on,
boy,
move along. You can do it.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So Jeff bought some corn nuts
as
a snack in one of the little Canadian towns that we were in.
Yep.
and we were sitting.
Westport. We went to a grocery store in Westport,
Okay.
Ontario, and they had the bulk food containers, and I bought it. I was like, they got corn nuts.
But we left
Huge
Westport,
bag of corn nuts.
and we headed towards the Appinicon,
which is at Chafee Lock.
Right.
Yeah, the Appinicon is a really cool, old school, like vacation compound with a restaurant. Yeah.
We were coming in, and we turned the corner, and Harley fell off the bow.
Yeah, we were pulling.
And then that was our dog. Our dog Harley. He fell off.
The boat went left, and Harley went right.
Right. But anyway, then we get into the lock, and we set up camp.
But the whole way there, between Westport and Chafee's Lock and the Appinicon restaurant, you were like, but these are corn nuts. But so they're nuts? What are they made out of? And I'm like, they're made out of corn.
Corn.
And you're like, but what are they made out of?
But if you have corn and then you pop it, but it didn't start as it started as a little kernel, not a thing looks like that.
Is it like popcorn? I'm like, it's corn.
But it's not a nut, though.
What? So is it a nut? Is it like a peanut? I'm like, no, it's not like a peanut. It's a piece of corn. It's a corn kernel. But what is it?
Wait. I also want to say.
But what is it?
I also want to say. So this is a family vacation, right? It's Jeff and I, all our kids, the dog, in the boat, and I am completely and totally sober when we're having this conversation. Like, what is it? I don't know.
The conversation went on for a couple of locks and a decent amount of mileage over the canal. And you're like, you'd come back to it. I think you'd calm down and like let it go, and then you'd be like, I'd be eating corn nuts, and she'd be like, but what is it? I'm like, it's made of corn. Like, it's corn. I don't know how, and I want to solve this for you. I want you to understand because you keep asking me, and I'm like, but it's like, you get a kernel, you get a corn cob, and you take a kernel off of it.
No, you didn't say that. If you had said that, I would have gotten it.
No, I don't think you would have. You were so locked into it being something that other than corn,
some snack food, some random snack food, like that's for some reason somebody called corn.
Boring, dumbass story, long, boring ass story. Short, we're sitting down at the Appinicon, and we get some salsa, and it's got some corn kernels in it, and you look down, and you're like, oh, corn.
It's corn.
And the kids are like, oh my God, get me out of here. How far away are we
wrong with
home?
you?
And I was like, So corn nuts are Bodie.
That was also the time at the Appinicon on Chafee's Lock.
Oh my God, yeah.
Where we were sitting there and we looked down and there's this big ass black snake just rolling along next to the pool.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there and we look down and we see it. We're like, hey, wow, that's a big snake. And everybody in the restaurant is like looking at the snake. And then like 5 minutes later, some dude comes out.
Some kid. Yeah.
Well, it was male. And he somehow wrestled.
Somebody came out and saw it, and then they left.
Right.
Somebody else came out and saw it, and like they
made it this kid's job to deal with the snake, and he picked it up somehow and went and put it in the woods.
He just herded it.
Oh.
He snake herded it to the woods. God bless him. But that snake was like, they had just redone the side of the Appinicon. They put like all sorts of nice modern furniture out. And there's like this pool and everything and all that stuff. And the snake's like, oh man, this is
here I go. This is awesome. I'm going in that pool. Anyway.
So those good stories. And I'll just say that I encourage you to take trips in small boats. It's super fun.
Definitely going up the Rideau. It's so nice.
Doesn't even have to be
down,
just
or even just wherever.
Yeah, just small, like trips in small. You don't need a big boat. Take a trip. Before we wrap up, I wanted to say that there's a great podcast episode by the inspiration for this podcast, Spike's Car Radio. Look for the episode called "Recovering from LA Wildfires." Recovering from LA Wildfires, and it was from roughly the I think
that first week,
from the 15th or so. The episode on the 15th, I think. Anyway, just look for that episode and listen to at least the first 20 minutes of it, because Spike, Johnny, and Paul Zuckerman on this do a really good job of just like relating what it's like on the ground in a pretty authentic way, and with, as you know, sharing how weird and terrifying and like heartbreaking, but also like you're just doing it so you experience it. It is like how to pack when you're told to evacuate.
Right.
Like, all this crazy stuff. And
Yeah, it's a shared experience for all of them. And we just hear weird newscasts about, random things and, the fire burning the full towns and everything. But they were just talking about it.
yeah, yes, the alerts and
the packing for the evacuations and the what do you pack? And you only have so much time. And then, you put these random things in a bag and then you go to the hotel and you're like, what? What did I do? Why? This is weird.
So Spike's Car Radio, recovering from LA wildfires. Listen to the first 20 minutes or so of that. And you get a sense of what it's like for just people just like you and me and, living through this thing. So there you go.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anything to add, Stephanie?
No, I don't think I have anything to add. This was fun.
Oh, let's plug the polar bear dip, which is coming up.
Polar bear dip on the 22nd February.
February 22nd, 2025.
Yep. Get in the water. Start the season.
In Alexandria Bay, New York.
People practice? What? Are people getting in the water now?
I'm just saying that will be the start of the season. It's the start of getting in the water, right? The 22nd.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Summer starts February
exactly.
22nd. And now they might have to use.
We got to beat last year. Summer starting in April. We got to.
Yeah.
Why not February?
Longer.
And we're here at the river, and it's going to drop to single digits overnight. They might actually have to chainsaw a hole in the ice for the polar bear dip this year.
They absolutely might. Yep. Which is normal. The last couple of years they haven't. But yeah, we're going to wander out on the ice one of these like today or tomorrow morning. Probably tomorrow morning at this point.
What's the fundraising goal for the polar bear dip for River Hospital, which is a 25-bed community access hospital in Alexandria Bay, New York, that provides very, very important health care, behavioral health, women's health, like health.
All the health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need all new vital signs monitors in the operating rooms at River Hospital. And we are trying to raise $100,000 to get those.
Right. This is the kind of place that provides healthcare, and otherwise you'd have a minimum 45-minute drive for anything to a community. So the polar bear dip, super fun. There's a big party before, during, and after, and you should come to it. And if not, look up the event on at what's the website?
Riverhospital.org, and then just go to events. Yeah.
Riverhospital.org. Right, go to events, and there are donation links there.
Yep.
You
donated the other day. I saw it.
I'm donating to all of the teams. A little bit of money to all the teams. I'm just going to spread it around.
Nice. Well done.
Yep. Because I'm not jumping.
I know. But
you were such a proud dipper.
When?
Early in our relationship. You were like, anybody's jumping in cold water, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I was into it. I'm over it. I've had my cold water.
It's fine. I don't mind that you don't. I'd rather you didn't have a heart attack.
Thanks, baby. I'd rather you didn't have a heart attack, too.
Thanks.
Yo ho ho, that's it for the Bodie Show. Pack the cooler, grab the lines, let's go, go, go. Yo ho ho ho.
That's it for the Bodie Show.
See ya.
Yep. Take it easy, everybody. Enjoy the increase in daylight that we are having day by day, week by week. All right. Well, whoop, whoop.